Do Real Housewives of Potomac season 1 episode 3. This is gonna be really quick. At the beginning they had showed all the ladies on what they were doing. Giselle was going to car shopping. Ashley was at the gym. Robin was with Juan with the kids, getting the kids ready. And Sharice was wine tasting or whatever. And Karen is at an art gallery. Katie is with this publisher guy in a magazine or whatever. So they start the show kind of basically with Katie sitting with this guy, talking. I think it was a publisher for a magazine, and they were talking about her modeling career, doing like an article on her and where her life is 10 years later, because she was like the face, did a cover for them. So then they start, just asking her questions about her family life and stuff like that, and we find out that she has this thing called the Ross Foundation. It's things that her and her mother kind of started together, or her mother started. But she let us know that her family is old money. I said okay, okay. Um, but she was saying how her dad used to be her mama's professor. I said yo, but okay. Um, and he was letting her know that she has a whole package, but she, don't have no husband. And she kind of was like, yeah, I know, but she started talking about Andrew and talking about how good he was for the kids. And she just got in this fantasy world about her and Andrew getting married. Okay. Karen is at the pastry shop with Giselle. They sit down and have a talk because in etiquette rule 17, they squash beef. They don't let this shit linger on. I'm like, girl, come on with these etiquette rules. So Karen was saying how Giselle should have talked to her one-on-one. She shouldn't have did a whole thing with her and Sharice and her. And I'm like, really? Really? But okay. Um, then she says she apologized for the book, the etiquette book that she gave Giselle, if Giselle was offended by that. So Giselle was like, okay, we can agree to disagree. They kind of basically hug it out, talk it out. Karen tell her she should reach out to Sharice, and Giselle was like, no, it's not her. No, I'm good. We go. So they hug it out. Ashley and her husband Michael goes on a double date with Katie and Andrew. And I want to like Ashley. But I don't want to like Ashley if she's going to be a kiss ass to be accepted by these women. I'm sorry. I'm not kissing nobody's ass to be accepted in nobody's circle. You either like me, love me, or leave me the fuck alone. So, she's telling them, she was like, I'm not really like this wine type of girl. I'm usually like this whiskey, tequila, beer type of chick. I said, okay, I can deal with her. Even though I don't drink all that shit. I was like, I can deal with a person like her. Because once you get that brown liquor in there, girl, your mouth gonna start going and you gonna want to party and all that kind of stuff. So I'm here for that. But I'm just not here for her kissing ass. So they start talking about interracial couples and, that they have that in common. And, Katie was kind of taking jibs in the confessionals about her man. They mans are a little older, but Michael is a lot older than Andrew. I'm like, but she's married. I'm just saying. Um, so Ashley was talks about how she met Michael and how she was a bartender at a place I guess he half owned or whatever. And she was like basically stalking her prey, knowing what she wanted and all that kind of stuff. Katie was like, I could take some advice from her. And I'm sitting there like, whatever. So they start talking about the other ladies, and Katie brings up Giselle because she was asking her how did she like the other ladies, and she was bringing up Giselle and Robin or whatever, and she was talking about how Giselle called her a thought, and they were talking about her being within a circle of the Potomac women, and they were talking about Karen and how Karen Andrew was going in on Karen, how Karen is older and stuck up. I was like, oh. And he said she's like Giselle with a bad body or bad drugs or some shit he said. I said, wow. Tell us how you really, really feel. I bet you they was at home watching this shit like, oh really? Oh really? But okay. Giselle probably was laughing. So Robin and her husband Juan, he used to play for the Blazers. They're at home with the kids, getting the kids ready. He takes the kids to school. He comes back and they talks about him being a coach somewhere, and he's gonna have to leave out of state to be the coach, and if she's gonna come with him with the kids. So they have to really figure that out because they are dysfunctional as a relationship. I just can't. I understand you being there for the kids and stuff like that. And him, they said that he lost both his parents at the age of 13 because they died of AIDS and stuff. They were on drugs or whatever. But so he really wants to be that father in his kid's life. And I'm like, you don't have to be with this woman to be in your kid's life. It bothers me when people say that. And then I'm like, you guys are doing more harm to these kids than good. Especially when y'all putting this shit out on a reality show that y'all really not like that. You know what I'm saying? So this is gonna be out there for the world to see forever. You guys are not really married and y'all perpetrating for the kids, and when the kids get older, they're gonna be like, huh? Like for real? They're gonna have questions about this situation. Because it's gonna come up when they get older. Either somebody's gonna bring it up or they're gonna see it and they're dysfunctional. Okay. So then they start talking about her and her wedding dress, and they have to build their finances back up because when he stopped playing for the Blazers, the stock crashed, the real estate crashed, so they have to build their finances back up. And then they start talking about the wedding dress and her selling her wedding dress and all that kind of stuff. And he went back down memory lane and they showed us the flashbacks of their wedding and how happy they were and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Um Karen and her daughter, her 17-year-old daughter, she's getting ready for prom. So her mom is, feeling like a mom should. Like, you happy, but then you sad at the same time that your baby girl is growing up. So her date comes, his name is Henry. And so Karen just had to explain to us about the interracial relationship between, what's her name? The daughter and Henry. And I'm like, okay. Like I expect that in the suburbs and rich neighborhoods where you have interracial dating because it's not really that many black boys around them kind of neighborhoods for the black girls, or that's the kind of school that they go to or whatever the case may be. I didn't see nothing wrong with them going out or making a big deal of him being a white boy taking out a black girl. I didn't care. But I'm like, okay, I can see that happening of the neighborhood y'all live in. Um, then she irritates me when she gets around her husband, Ray. She treats him like, I don't know, not like a man. But he was trying to take pictures. He older. He, taking pictures of his baby girl. She like, turn it this way, turn it that way. I'm like, bitch, grab the camera. Grab the camera if you feel that kind of way. Nobody got time for that. Robin go to sell her dress. She paid $6,700 for that ugly ass dress, and then the lady come and tell her, "We're gonna take 40% off because you wore it already." Then her mom was with her, and they go back down memory lane of her and Juan being married and how the parents really loved him and they took him in and they taught him how to be a man and they taught him this and taught him that. But I'm like, okay, well, how do they feel about him now? Because y'all still live together. Karen and Sharice go shopping. The grandmama and the great grandmama go shopping, and they make their granddaughter and great granddaughter, that's what Sharice said, Ashley and Katie come try on clothes, bathing suits, so Karen can buy her 17-year-old daughter a bathing suit. Why you just take your daughter shopping? I don't get it. Or go buy a lot of them, see which one she like and she don't like, take it back. What might look good and what they feel good in might not be what your daughter like. I just didn't understand this, but y'all needed a goddamn segment, whatever. That's all I know. But what I did, they liked it Ashley. They got along with Ashley. Ashley liked Karen. Okay. But Sharice did. Karen told her that she met up with Giselle. Sharice said she ain't reaching out to Giselle. Okay, whatever. So Ashley invite them to a whiskey tasting thing she's throwing. So Karen was like, okay, cool. But she was like, let me give you a little advice. She was like, positions in Potomac, people earn their positions, and you just have to respect the circle. I said, see, I would have been like, you know what, y'all just invited. Ain't got time, but okay. Giselle getting ready for the whiskey tasting event with her daughters, and then gonna make a comment about she letting her daughters help her because they the same age as Ashley. I said I am so tired of y'all bitches throwing shade for no fucking reason. But that is what Katie said, that they would be nice and talk about you behind your back. I said, oh fake bitches, I can't. But anyway, Katie and Andrew, they not going to the whiskey tasting because they going to an event that she want to try to go get some money for the Ross Foundation. So I was like, okay, cool. She in the car talking to him about what are we gonna say for the Ross Foundation? How are we gonna introduce you? What are we gonna introduce you as? He said, my boy, to your quality significant other. I said, bitch, because he don't want to be introduced as your husband or nowhere near close to it. You Okay, let's keep going. Ashley getting ready for the party or whatever at this restaurant, and the ladies start arriving. All of them feel some kind of way about what the place looked like, and I'm sitting there like, bitch, y'all drinking whiskey. What did y'all want it to look like? I'm just saying. Y'all know she ain't from Potomac. What y'all want it to look like? So Karen said that she was just taken aback by the scene. Robin arrived and said this must be a grown. She said this is a grown up man thing, basically. Giselle said she Gucci down to the socks, and they told her to go to the basement. So she felt some kind of way. Sharice didn't really say how she felt about it. She was so busy focused on Giselle being there. Ashley described the different whiskeys to the women. They all looking at her like I'm a Karen, like I'm a champagne type of girl, but I'm like, you in here. So they taking shots, getting fucked up, talking about the whiskey and stuff like that, and which whiskeys is nasty or whatever. So that was cool. So then Giselle brings up the conversation with Karen, like, thanks for the conversation or whatever. And then she started talking about Sharice to Karen. And Karen was like, well, she's right here. But she was like, I ain't got nothing to say to her. Then they start going back and forth. I didn't care. But they really started going back and forth because Sharice was like, I just want to move on. I ain't got time for this. Basically, talking about she felt disrespected in her house. Giselle was like, but I apologized that night. She was like, oh, you did? I'm like, bitch, yeah, she did. Just because you couldn't hear because you were so mad about what was going on, for what reason, I don't know. But she did apologize. So then they show Katie and Andrew arrive at this party and to raise money. And they are networking through the party about some casino royale night that they're having. Then as they networking, somebody asks were they engaged. No. Then they start talking to a couple about a couple had just got married the weekend prior or whatever, and they were looking at her rings, and she was like, so you see what I like? I'm like, girl, you is gonna lose this man. You're gonna really lose this man. But that's on you. Giselle, she was telling Ashley, like, I mean, glad you invited me. So Ashley was like, but you called me a thought when we talked. And she was like, yeah, because you was humping Robin's leg. And so I was like, okay. Then they brought up a hoe word and, talking about she was being hoish. And she was like, a hoe have sex. Like, that ain't what I was doing or whatever. And then she was like, okay, hoish behavior. So they kind of, Ashley apologized for her behavior. Giselle apologized for her calling her a thought. They moved on past that. Sharice was like, oh my God, Ashley can be grown up about the situation. So she gets up and hugs Giselle. And they hug it out. And I'm sitting there like, I will keep my eye on you, Sharice. But okay. Katie is back at home with Andrew. They talking about the event and all the kind of stuff, and she had this braid in her hair, and she was like, oh, this is ugly. And she was like, you should braid my hair because I seen you on 50 Shades of Grey. And I'm sitting there like, this ain't how you get him to marry you. But then you tell him that's what you saw on 50 Shades of Grey. You know what 50 Shades of Grey was like. So after he braided your hair and wanted to do some shit, then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, too good to do this shit on camera. Okay. So then she was talking about having more kids with him. He like, She's like, you never seen me pregnant. He was like, I saw you on pictures. Your breasts were swollen. Like, okay. Like, bitch, please. So she was like, something about being knocked up and proposed to. And he was like, he wants to be, because they were talking about how long to be engaged. And he was like 4, 5, 6 years. I said, this is telling you. This is not what he wants. He's the only eligible bachelor on the market. Like, bitch, that means he could date who he want to date. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. You doing this for society and your parents, and girl, please. Then you already have one failed one. Please get to know this man. He don't want you. Not like that. At least not right now. So she gets annoyed with him, and Katie was like, "Well, you 44." He like, no, 43. She was like, "Well, close to 44." Like, girl, he trying to tell you, don't be trying to put his age out there like that. But she was like, take it serious, and he was like, if you would have been quiet, we probably would have been engaged 6 months ago. But your ass keep on nagging and nipping it at him, it ain't gonna happen. So that's all that happened on the Real Housewives of Potomac, season 1, episode 3. Tell me what you thought about it. That's what happened on it. And follow me on our social media sites by The Ghetto View, THA, not THE. And I will talk to y'all in the next video.